Hey Kevin, this is Dan Triplet. I thought this would be a much easier way to try to explain some topology stuff. Your topology actually is pretty good, and so that's why I kind of wanted to like explain some more advanced stuff, maybe get you like even further along. Um, First off, like one thing that I would do is it's always good to have a balanced topology. Um, that being said, if you can make your topology look more like even squares, most of the time that's better. If you're working in games, a lot of times if it's like a static mesh or something like that, they don't really care what the topology looks like so much because at the end of the day, it's not going to be deforming and it just needs to be as low poly as you can go. But if you're working in like film or advertising or something like that, having a nice balanced topology is important. Sometimes even for show, just like you're showing your demo reel and your stuff looks like nice and even and balanced and it looks good. But there's more to it than just that. And this is one of the things I wanted to bring up here. So I took a screen grab of your little guy here, and I'm particularly looking at this square eye. And one of the things I wanted to kind of explain is that there's a curve, just like how curves work. I'm sure you've made a curve before, but if you go ahead and you make a curve, and you go ahead and make these sections of a curve, and like let's say this is a Maya, and what'll happen is you'll have like a curve that kind of goes like that, and so these points are pulling and the curve is interpolating between these 3 points. So you need at least 3 points like this to kind of make a curve. I mean, you can have two, but it's going to be, that's just a straight line. So it's not really exactly right. So when you go around edges, when you go around edges, like for instance, this principle still applies when you go around an edge like this. So even though it's a polygon, it still kind of works the same way. So here is, let's say this is a 90 degree, so this is 90-degree curve, right? And the tighter you want this edge, as you know, because I can tell you you're doing it here, the tighter you want this edge, the closer you need to make these to this edge. Of course, this does change if you're starting to use like the Pixar, like edge weighting and stuff like that. But um, that that being said, um, sometimes the edge weighting doesn't work perfectly, and you can't always use it for every situation. So you still need to know how this works. But so the reason why I took this square out of here is to show you that. So from here, you can see right here, like this is what you have. You have a 180-degree curve, so you want this surface to be flat, right? So this is good, it's fine, this will render just fine because you have 3 segments here that should be completely flat, right? But if like you just had one segment here in the middle and then you did like a smooth on it, of course you're gonna get this thing bending, it's gonna like kind of bend like that. That won't work properly. But since you have 3, that's fine. But um, one thing to consider is that the vertex normals of these corner ones is going to be different than the vertex normals of this. So the vertex normals, like, let's go ahead and look at it from the side view again. So you've got this corner piece here. The vertex normal, like let's say this is where it turns, okay? And I don't know, I think over here it turns going upwards, so this is kind of like going to go like that if we're looking at the side view. So the vertex normal is going to be here because it's going to be it's going to be like basically like a 45 degree because it's going to be half of this 90 for this vertice. So this one should go straight up like this, and then this vertex normal will go straight up like that, but this is at a 45. So if you drop another segment in here, and this one goes straight up, then you have your curve here. You got 1, 2, 3. So there's your curves right here. So then this is truly 180 degrees. It is of course 180 degrees, but you're getting into like sticky ground where you're starting to try to smooth it all the way around here. It'll work fine in a render and stuff like that, but you start to deform things, and then you might run into some issues. Like, I mean, this character might be hard surface and never deform, but if it's not, you put a deformer on there because you want to do some like squash and stretch expressions or something like that, you're going to need an even topology. And you also This is also good for holding UVs better. So if you have this big section in the middle, so if I went ahead and erased this and I didn't have this in here, and I had this huge section in the middle, there can be some UV stretching that can happen based on the fact that this section is so big right here versus this little section here. So if you can balance it out, I mean, if it's like way too high poly and you know it's going to be crazy and you just need to get it done, then obviously what you have there is actually just fine. But I just wanted to explain that, like, you know, for showmanship, having things even, no, you know, trying not to do stuff where there's, you know, there's open five-sided things and like in this case this is Engon. Um, you know, I've seen, for instance, the mesh that I put a link to in Hannah's section. He actually has some of these in there. He has some five-sided things up in the top of the head, but generally that's frowned on. So there is ways to kind of get rid of that. And so basically the principle that you've got going on here, so if you've got this nice curve, and I wouldn't tell you to like go and fix this right now. I think it's fine. I think you would be able to, for this assignment, you're fine. But this curve that you have going on here, kind of going around like this, you know, so what you do is that you take this and you basically fence it in, and then this one will continue on, and this one might go in a different direction, and this one might go in a different direction. But you see it's basically the same exact principle that you have going on right here. This is the same thing. So that's this is what you would basically do here in this section here. Maybe the only difference is that in this case you're going to have a line that kind of comes from there, and then that goes there, and then that goes there. You know, so it might be a little bit different, but with these curved surfaces, you have to, you know, you adjust for the topology, obviously. But yeah, I mean, honestly though, this is good stuff. I just want to say it's really good stuff. I like where it's coming. I wouldn't even be explaining this stuff to you if I didn't think that maybe, you know, you would pick up on it. So, good job, and I'm looking forward to seeing this guy surface.